To another Sir Supreme video. Today I'm doing a tier list for Australian politics. So, okay, I've just actually noticed. What on earth? Why are the tiers like this? So technically to complete the tiers, I just put them in these categories. But what does it actually want from me? Does it want me to write good? They've probably done a mistake. Okay, let's go from the, well, it's, best because the green should be at the bottom. But let's go best at the top, worst at the bottom. So obviously we're going to start with the greens, which we're not doing worst, and best. We're doing out of all of these. So I've got the worst here because they want to impose taxes on us. They want to use billions of our dollars to stop the supposed man-made climate crisis, whilst not making China and India, the world's most polluters, do anything about it. They want to allow loads of immigration in. They want higher taxes. They want more regulation. They want to give more money to people on benefits who don't want to work. As Clive Palmer said, they want to give free marijuana and the dole for everyone, which is what the Greens have taken in their pride of that comment, actually, surprisingly. And they support Palestine, and they're just a bunch of extremists who want the voice and for Aboriginals to not have to work another day in their lives, basically. So they are there. Then we've got Centre Alliance, which I don't know too much about them, but they're pretty centre, so we're going to put them in the centre category. Probably about there. Then who should we work with next? Labour. Is this federal? This isn't federal, okay? This could meet at state level as well. So we've got federal Labour in Australia, which is basically all wrong, really. They promised over 100 times to not change the stage 3 tax cuts. They did change the stage 3 tax cuts. Then they had the voice referendum, which failed miserably because it was a really bad idea with no clear pathway. Now they're talking about women's issues to make that into another kind of issue, which is important, but they just went a full kind of 180 on the previous stances to make this a big deal. Then they promised $275 off people's power bills on average. They've went up by about over $600 on average. Then we've got an immigration crisis. We've got way too much immigration right now, legal and illegal. The High Court decision released over 100 violent criminals who were in immigration detention. Around at least 10 of them committed crimes such as rape, murder, burglary, blah, 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 blah. Some of them even spied after a elderly couple in Perth and bashed them and stole their possessions. Then they bungled up the laws for that. They didn't give them ankle bracelets. Many of them were faulty. They were able to get away and things like that. What else have they done? There's so many things that they've done. They've kind of put just austerity on funding with the health services and things like that. And then if you look at the state governments, Victoria had that big build up to the eyeballs in debt. New South Wales doesn't really know what they're doing too much. South Australia doesn't as well. The Northern Territory is just letting the kind of First Nations people do what they want. Removing the curfews, all of the alcohol bans and things like that. Wanting to raise the criminal age of responsibility. Queensland's had a leadership change, as Victoria have, to Jacinta Ardern. Then South Australia's got a relatively new premier, lots of Labour. And then, what am I thinking of? On New South Wales, they've got Chris Minns. And then Queensland's got Stephen Miles. And in WA, we've got Roger Cook now. So our Labour government in WA is really weird, actually, because they have imposed a wage cap on the public sector workers. So since 2017, they've not seen a pay rise in real terms. They've been on strike. They've fined the nurses' union for going on strike. They're really capitalist in that sense. We've had a record surplus, which is great, but it's all thanks to the Liberal Party negotiating for better GST for us. They're spending billions on trains. The Metronet project has blown out from 3.2 billion to about 10.7 billion. No one's going to use a train line here, really, because, there's a train from point A to B, but your house is at point D and your destination's at point X. You still need a bus or some other transfer to get there, which we don't have. Then our health system is in dire crisis. Our hospital ramping is at 5 times what it was when the Liberal government left. We've had no new infrastructure projects or anything like that. And it's just quite a failure, just quite miserable. And there's not really so much investment. And just generally, it's not really the best. And they've banned logging and things like that when actually cutting wood and using it for furniture, whilst replanting trees is good because it's carbon capture. And burning wood is also good considering the fact that our heat source, if we use electric heating, comes from coal-powered power stations, and the wood that people used and chopped down for the fireplaces to produce heat, so they wouldn't need to use the coal-powered fire stations, would be burnt down as part of fire burns to be able to prevent bushfires anyways. So actually, they've been quite ineffective. So we're going to put them about here. You know, some of the things at the state level particularly, they've done quite well, but they've had booming surpluses. They've had iron ore royalties and everything like that, and they've been quite set up from what the Liberals did. During COVID, they did quite a good job, though. But yeah, at a federal level, they're basically just idiots. They don't know anything. Our Prime Minister could not name the national rate of unemployment. It's just really bad. Just nothing's working, really. One Nation, some of the ideas are radical. They did get a bit better. The last election, they kind of peddled a anti-vax motion and ideology, which I was strongly opposed to, especially all of these kind of conspiracy theories surrounding it. Then they kind of got better a bit. They kind of called out some of the people we took in as refugees, who then continued to commit tax evasion, joined the Greens, owned about several investment properties, committed more tax evasion, then called the Queen a colonizer, and she kind of told them, well, if you don't like it, you can go back to your home country. So, I mean, some of the things they say is racist, but I mean, that was kind of valid. You can't come here, take advantage of our tax loopholes, not pay your fair share, own several investment properties, and then call the Queen a colonizer, and refuse to take oath as a Member of Parliament. But then she let Craig Kelly join her party from the UAP, and he's just and I quote, so I can't be defamed, accused of defamation and libel, kind of just a big fat bloke who says that the vaccine is bad and everyone is bad. So that kind of pulled it down a bit. But, you know, you could put them probably here, really, I'd say. Pauline Hanson, the leader, obviously, from what it says at the top, isn't the most charismatic or plain-speaking. Not plain-speaking, but kind of polished. If you know Nigel Farage in the UK, he's a bit more similar ideology, but he's a lot more polished. She just kind of says what she thinks. She doesn't think much about sorry, I just said a mind blank. She doesn't think much about the actual backstory to her things or kind of how it sounds or presents. She just comes out and says it. So some of that's good, but some of it's not. She also hasn't really talked about issues like tax cuts. How should help the middle class? How should help the working class? Maybe reducing tax for people who are entering work. Maybe slowly reducing benefits. She hasn't talked about any of that. It's mostly the cultural divide things, and many people agree with that. So I'd put them probably here or here. Let's go for here, actually. Then the Liberal Party, not the best always, but quite strong, quite stable. People whinge about them after they've been in government for a while, like they did with the Howard government and also the Morrison government. But, you know, now the Morrison government has left, look at it, inflation is up. Unemployment is going up slowly, the economy is going down, we've had immigration crisis, we had the voice, we've had wasted money, all of these things. I'd put them here or here, but because we're ranking them out of all of these, not out of what there could be, we're going to put the Liberal Party at the top, because they've done not too bad. At a state level, kind of hated them in WA. And my family proudly voted them out, but if you look at what we got now, they weren't too bad. We got a new children's hospital, we got a new adults hospital with a children's department on it. We got the Elizabeth Quay, which was overfunded, a bit of corruption there, but it's still a nice area. We got a new stadium, we got a bit of a train line that was quite affordable, actually. What else did we get? We got a few road projects and school funding and stuff like that. The government presided over a huge budget deficit, but that was because of the GST funding, where we'd only get about 30 to 20 cents in the dollar we contributed back, which was due to the federal government at the time, so it wasn't really our state's fault. And then they kind of had to put a slam on the brakes. But even during that time, the wages of the public sector employees just kept up with inflation. And before that, they gave, like, our education assistants, our teachers, our nurses, pay rises of about 18% over 3 years, whilst we were in a recession, or just after a recession, and growth and inflation and wages are so low. So that was quite a good thing as well for our public sector. So that is where I'd put my tier list. Let's see what people in the community put, and be sure to let me know down below in the comments what you think I should put. So one other person has ranked it, and they've ranked it correctly. Oh, don't tell me he's doing it from the best to the worst. No, you're not some lefty mate, are you, who's trying to say, the Greens are at the top, so they must be at the top. Socialists, leftists, communists. Anyways, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Be well appreciated if you like, subscribe, comment, share if you enjoyed this video, and if not, It'd be well appreciated if you'd give me some constructive criticism in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, have a fantastic day, and I really do hope to see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Okay, how do I end recording? That'd be great, wouldn't it? No. Oh, this button here. Yep. Bye-bye.